Welcome to Glacier Farm Media's daily coverage of the 2013 Agricultural Biotech International Conference from Calgary, Alberta.
My name is Clive James. I'm chairman of a not-for-profit organization called ISA, the International Service for the Acquisition of Agri-Biotech Applications. And our mission is to share knowledge about the new technologies, so-called biotechnology, to feed the world of tomorrow.
Okay, and what are you covering in your talk today? Or tomorrow, I'm sorry.
Well, I think a good point to start is population. This is driving much of the need for food for tomorrow. And when we look at population, you start off with 1.5 billion at the turn of the century in 1990. On the 31st of October 2011, the globe reached a population of 7 billion for the first time. It'll be 9 billion later on, and 2100 will see 10 billion people. Now, it is clear that conventional crop technology alone will not allow you to double food production. And neither is biotechnology a panacea. So what we believe is that if you join the best of the old conventional technology and the best of the new, that offers you the best possibility of feeding the world of 2050.
And so you're talking about improving access to these technologies to developing countries as part of what you do.
One of the main important points is that this new technology is not well understood by the public. So the best antidote for that is to share knowledge with them. If I tell you to do something, you might do it. If you decide that you want to do something after reading the knowledge base, after consulting the database, then there's a higher probability that you will carry out that action because it's something that you have decided. So we have a program that shares knowledge freely around the world, but respects the rights of others to make decisions based on that knowledge. I was associated with the 1970 Nobel Peace Laureate Norman Borlaug. I worked with him for 30 years. Now, he was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize because he saved 1 billion people from hunger with the Green Revolution. And that revolution would not have been successful had it not been accepted by the public. And that was facilitated through the sharing of knowledge. We believe that choice is important. Those people that want to depend on conventional crop technology alone should have that choice. Those people that want to depend on organic agriculture and can afford the higher prices, the poor cannot, should have that choice. And similarly, those people that want to avail themselves of the new technology should have that choice. So choice is important. In this way, we can increase food production to meet the needs of the world. And if we can increase food production, we can also do something else that is very important. And that is we can contribute to a more peaceful world. Norman Borlaug always used to tell me, you cannot build peace on empty stomachs. He was right. And if you look to the Arab Spring of 4 years ago, the first event was that a young man in Tunis, in protest, put himself on fire. He was unemployed, he was poor, he was hungry. Yeah. So when we look at food, it is the absolutely essential element that every man, woman, and child, irrespective of creed, color, race, must have. So we're talking about humanity. We believe that the new technologies can make a very important contribution to the feeding of the world tomorrow, an important goal.
So what do you think is the biggest struggle going into the future for spreading that knowledge and increasing access to it?
The biggest problem at the moment is understanding of the technology by the public. It's a complex technology, but it can be explained in simple terms to the man and woman walking on the street. That's the mission that we have. where we share knowledge, a very noble goal, and that, I think, will lead to a program that will allow us to feed the world of tomorrow.
I think it's a big trust element as well, that these people have maybe lost an element of trust in the corporations or the businesses that are feeding the planet, but we need to reinforce that they can trust the products and the technologies, and that we are doing these things for the right reasons.
Trust and confidence is key. But if you look at the growth of this technology, what happened was, like many other new technologies, is owned by a very small group who are prepared to make that investment. That happen to be some of the big transnationals. But the scene is changing very quickly. The new big investors in this technology are the emerging countries from the developing world. In Asia, they are China and India, a population of 2.7 billion if you put them together. In Latin America, it is Brazil, the engine of growth in Latin America, and Argentina. And in Africa, it is the continent of South Africa. So ownership of this technology is changing fast. But I think we should be careful that we don't shoot the messenger. Look at the technology and see what it can do. And I believe there's one word that's important in this whole area. That is the word collaboration. Private sector should work with public sector. North should work with the South. East should work with the West. And if we can do that, then we can harmoniously put a consortium together, representing the different parts of the globe in unison, looking at the major target, feeding the world of tomorrow. When somebody asked me the other day, what do you think is the biggest pollutant in the environment today? Some of my colleagues said, it's pesticides. Others said it is industrial smog. But my belief is that the biggest pollutant that we have in the world today is poverty. Poverty that is pervasive, that pollutes the lives of billions of people. And that is linked, of course, with food. We can produce food, enough of it, with this technology, and at the same time protect the environment, decrease pesticides. So the call is for collaboration on a global basis to address a problem that is important for all of us. And in the words of Norman Borlaug, he was a wonderful individual. If I was asked to describe him to somebody, my experience with him, it would not be caught in a sentence that would fit into a scientific textbook. It's always the poets that capture the jewels of the past and share them with the population of tomorrow. So the verse that I would use to describe Norman Borlaug is the following. He cared more than others thought wise. He dreamed more than others thought real. He risked more than others thought safe. And he expected and usually got what others thought impossible. This is the impossible dream, yeah? The good news is that we can fix it by working together toward that common goal of feeding the world of 9 billion by 2050. So this is the verse that sums up what has happened with biotech to date. Genetically modified is synonymous. Let's start right at the beginning. Biocrops are here to stay. 17 million farmers shout hooray. First was cotton, maize and soy, and rice and wheat will not dismay. Half the world has gone this way. Biocrops are a winning way. Biocrops are here to stay.